Hi everyone, here's a little guide about some basic summoners war mechanics which are not always clear to everyone. I am fully aware this is not new knowledge, but I thought it would be handy to sum up the most important ones in a video. Because let's be honest, watching a video is far less effort than searching and reading. I will cover accuracy resistance, skill ups and attribute advantage. I'd like to start with the accuracy resistance part. First of all because this information is later needed to explain the other parts, but mainly because players seem to have very divergent opinions about it. Some swear by the need of 100% accuracy to consistently land any form of harmful effect. Others say the more accuracy the better, but 85 is really the max. And then there's a group of people who say accuracy is a fake stat and you don't need it because you either land your harmful effect or you don't. 50-50. But which is correct? Spoiler alert, it's not this one. Before giving you a straight answer, let's first look how landing a debuff works. I usually visualize it as two gates you need to pass. These are commonly referred as the activation check and the accuracy resistance check. When you pass both these gates, you land your harmful effect. The activation rate is known by just looking in the skill description of your monster. How Skillups affect this I will discuss later. So we go to a skill description and it says 75% chance. If there is no percentage described in the skill description, this means the activation chance is 100%, so you will always pass the first gate. But in the instance of our non-skillup galleon it's 75%, so it's like rolling a 4-sided die with a 1 meaning we didn't pass the gate. So, in average with a 75% activation rate, 3 out of the 4 times we use the skill, we should pass the activation check. And although this skill will be activated 75% of the times, we still have to pass the other gate. At this gate, passage is calculated by accuracy and resistance. And here I quote the in-game help menu.
The effect resistance rate is calculated by subtracting effect accuracy from effect resistance. But no matter how high the effect accuracy is, the effect resistance rate doesn't go below 15%.
Okay, so summarized, we take our enemy's resistance minus our accuracy, and that is the chance we don't pass this gate. So we take our hypothetical aerial with 90% resistance and we subtract the accuracy of our galleon, which is, let's say, 57. 90 minus 57 equals 33. So the chance of landing is 67%. So we roll a 6-sided die to determine if we pass the last gate, with a 1 or 2 meaning we didn't pass the gate. Alright, in average we pass this gate 2 out of the 3 times. And now we see that with these conditions we land our debuff only half of the time. If our galleon had higher accuracy, let's say 100, we would have passed the last gate a lot more often. But why is it that people say 85 accuracy is the max? Well, that's because of this rule. Resistance rate can't go below 15%. So even against an enemy with 100% resistance, our monster with 85% accuracy would get the lowest possible resistance rate. Conclusion. If you want to land debuffs as often as possible, try to shoot for at least 85% accuracy. But don't sacrifice all other stats to reach this goal, because even if the enemy has a resistance of 75%, which is quite high, 60 accuracy will do as fine as 100. Now let's talk skill ups. As most players know, a monster skill can be leveled up by feeding a monster of the same family or a devilmon. These so-called skill ups can have different effects. These effects are increase in damage, harmful effect rate, recovery, shield, attack bar recovery or harmful effect turns, and decrease in cooldown time. How the last one works seems obvious. The max cooldown of the leveled up skill will be reduced by the amount mentioned in the skill up. The other ones are a bit tricky though, because some are additive and some are multiplicative. When you see a skill up that increases the harmful effect rate by a certain amount, this amount is simply added to the harmful effect rate in the skill description. So, by completely skilling up Galleon's last skill, the harmful effect rate will go from 75 to 100. Making it so, the skill will always pass the previous discussed activation check. Increase in harmful effect turns, on the other hand, will just elongate the time a debuff stays on your opponent by the amount mentioned in the skill up. An increase in recovery, shield or attack bar recovery work all the same, multiplicatively. This means the amount of increase stated in the skill up gets relatively added to the original amount of healing, shield or attack bar increase. So if a skill would normally heal for 40% and the skill up states recovery plus 10%, this means 10% of the original 40% will be added, so the new healing amount will be 44 and not 50. A second or third skill up will also be based on the original amount and not on the amount gained by the previous skill up. Now, last but not least, increase in damage. This one is quite complex and by completely explaining it, I would take too much of your time, but here's the short version. Of course, I will leave a link in the description to a Reddit post of a guide from a while back about the damage impact of skill ups. Damage of a skill can be calculated by these formulas dependent on if your skill crits. For the non-crit one, it is simple. Increased damage percentage of the skill up will be added to the original damage. So, the bombs of a max skilled Cobalt Bomber will do 30% more damage than if it were not skill upped. The damage increase of critting skills on the other hand are also affected by the critical damage of your monster. This makes it that your crit damage dealers will overall do 8 to 10% more damage when they get skill upped. Alright, and now last of all something about attribute advantage. When a monster has elemental advantage over another monster, it gains 15 bonus crit rate. On top of that, there is a chance that your non-crit will land as a crushing hit, which will do 30% more damage than a normal hit. Except a higher chance to crit and a chance of a crushing hit, hitting a monster while having attribute advantage doesn't increase the damage. When a monster has elemental disadvantage over another monster, it has a chance to land glancing hits with a 50% chance. These will do 30% less damage and not land as a crit. On top of that, the hits that don't land as glancing hits have a 15% less chance to hit as a crit. And in contrast to the advantage hit, disadvantage hits do always less damage than if it were a neutral or an advantage hit. Alright, that was it. I hope you were educated or at least entertained. Let me know what you thought about it with a like, dislike or comment and tell me what you would like to see next. But for now, smell you later.